This is the Rust Belt, and it's so massive it covers a whopping 9 states in the USA. Often described as the American miracle, this massive expanse of land was the hallmark of American prosperity. This region was so important, it decided who sat in the White House. It once boasted numerous industries that employed hundreds of thousands of people.
I think a lot of people, when they think about the Rust Belt, they think about buildings like this. Abandoned factories, steel mills that have been closed for decades. People who have been here since the manufacturing boom, they've seen their cities change and adapt to the fact that manufacturing really has taken a decline.
But today it is filled with abandoned factories, a high unemployment rate, a starving populace, and extensive poverty.
There are also people who are feeling really hopeful, and I think we heard those perspectives.
Previously known as the Factory Belt and the Steel Belt, the region is now known as the Rust Belt, describing the massive decay in this once industrious region. But what led to the collapse of the colossal Rust Belt? What exactly happened? Stick around to find out. The Rust Belt, which spans from the Midwestern states to New York, was once known as the manufacturing heartland of the nation. It covers 9 states, namely Wisconsin, Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, Missouri, New York, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and West Virginia. Historically, the Rust Belt became an industrial hub due to its proximity to the Great Lakes, canals, and rivers, which allowed companies to access raw materials and ship out finished products. And so the region was home to some of America's most prominent industries, like the steel production and automobile manufacturing industries. During its boom, the Rust Belt cities produced heavy industrial materials and consumer products and developed storage and transportation systems to distribute them to the rest of the country. The region is rich in natural resources such as coal and iron ore, resulting in the siting of coal and steel plants, which later spawned the weapons, automotive, and auto parts industries. The industry rise, along with ready labor and easy accessibility via available waterways, led to the Rust Belt's prosperity. People seeking employment also migrated from different parts of the country and even neighboring Canada to work in companies like Bethlehem Steel and the Youngstown Sheet and Tube companies. This was a rather prosperous era in the United States history. The country's GDP was booming, courtesy of the Industrial Revolution in the Rust Belts. Interestingly, the area accounted for more than half of all manufacturing jobs in the country as of 1950. There were thousands of blue-collar jobs in coal plants, steel and automotive production, and the weapons industry. At one point, the area was one of the largest steel-producing regions of the country, being home to the famous U.S. Steel Corporation, which produced more than 60% of the country's steel. However, all that changed after 1970. A good number of the industries in the Rust Belt started locking their gates, and people lost jobs in thousands. Many manufacturers were using expensive, outdated equipment and machinery, and they just couldn't cope with the high costs of domestic labor and materials. To survive, a good number of these manufacturers began looking elsewhere for cheaper steel and labor, mostly from foreign sources, as the U.S. opened trade borders overseas, allowing importation of goods from other countries. This would ultimately lead to the collapse of the Rust Belt even till this day. But how important was this region in American life?
Purified the coal.
In its heydays, the Rust Belt was so important, it literally decided who went into the White House. Even after its collapse, states in the region still hold massive sway in U.S. politics. As a matter of fact, it has been influential in deciding the outcome of U.S. presidential elections since 1980. In the last 10 elections, the state of Ohio has always backed the eventual winner of the polls, and that's incredibly shocking. But it's true. Several attempts have been made to restore the Rust Belt, but it has, however, not been an easy task to restore the lost glory of this American industrial dinosaur, which was hailed as the American miracle during and after the Second World War. Setbacks like migration to the south in search of greener pastures, high cost of living, non-functioning industries, and COVID-19 have hit the region hard, leaving a lot of its uneducated old white voters unemployed. But who will be its savior? Only time will tell. What do you think? Please let us know in the comments section.